Hello there. The purpose of this video is to talk to you about ACT Aspire. What is it? How do we get students looking at their data and how this data can be useful for them as they set goals and move forward and ultimately move to the actual ACT. So students in ninth grade and 10th grade take the ACT Aspire. They take it in the spring, so then the following year they're able to look back at their spring scores. So like our 10th graders are reviewing their scores from their ninth grade spring test. Now, this current group of 10th graders also took it in the fall of ninth grade. That was just a 1 year thing, so they can compare their data. But as we move forward, the 10th graders take it their ninth grade spring year. Okay, um, the 11th graders are looking at their 10th grade spring data from last year. So they take it twice, and then the 11th graders then are preparing for that actual ACT. So it goes ninth grade spring ACT Aspire, 10th grade spring ACT Aspire, and then the 11th grade ACT. So this year, the last week or so, I've been meeting with students in grades 6 through 11, looking at their current baseline data. So our 10th graders have MAPS baseline fall data that they just took for 10th grade math, but they also are going to be looking at their ninth grade spring ACT data. Same thing for 11th graders. They're not looking at MAPS data because they're done with MAPS, but they are looking at their ACT Aspire from their 10th grade spring. So that's kind of where we're at. So I want to talk to you about how we get them working with their data. So last year we created, Allie did a great job. We took Trent's ideas, we Googleized them, as I said before, and we created what we call the GDD that kids can use to talk to others about their data. It's just a way that they can pull their data in, actually upload it, type it in, and they can explain it and share it to other people. So here's how they get to their data, their GDD. They go to their drive, okay, and they do that through clicking their waffle. So they log into Google or to KUSD in their Google account, and they click on their waffle, they get on their drive. And when they go into their drive, they're going to have a folder in there called Classroom, as I said before. So they click on their Classroom folder. They click on their data folder within their Classroom folder, and they're going to click on their ACT Aspire GDD. Okay. When they get on it, depending on whether they're a 10th grader or an 11th grader, they're going to click on the correct year. So I'm going to go 10th grade, okay? I'm going to go, let's say I'm an 11th grader right now. I'm going to click on my 10th grade tab because that's going to be where I'm going to input my spring data from 10th grade because that's what we're looking at right now. Now, in the future, an 11th grader will click on this and they will see their 9th grade spring scores, and then they will put in their 10th grade spring scores and they'll be able to see some growth. See, they would have their 9th grade composite, their 10th grade composite, and then over here they would have their composite growth. They could set a goal and so on. So it's set up for the long term, okay? Um, as we look at the GDD for Aspire, we could see that at the top here you have the national composite range. You have a place for them to put in their score. I'll get rid of that because I'll show you how that's done. And then they could have their predicted composite score down here and compare it to the 21. That's the midpoint or the average. I'm sorry. And then they go down and they get more specific as they go. So now they have their different tests they took: the English, the writing, math, and so on, math, science, and their reading. So they would put in their composite score here, and they would put in their predicted ACT score, and then they would check ready, close, in need of support. And then they would go even more specific down into the subject skill areas. And this is where you're going to see where you could have specific conversations with your students. So they could put in their knowledge of language, production of writing, convention standard English, and then you can get at okay, what areas do I need to shore up? What areas do I need to work on? It really helps students to direct their learning. Okay, so that's how it's set up for all the different areas. So after the kids open up their GDD and I explain how it's laid out, I pass out this. This is their, right here, they have copies of their actual ACT progress sheets. These are really nice. First thing I like is this wonderful sunrise, because it's telling me that the sun is rising over my education through ACT. Isn't that awesome? I'm kidding. I do like the color. I do like how it's laid out. But if you look over here, it's laid out nicely so they can see, all right, the top here, I direct students to say, all right, here's your composite. There's your range, your predicted range of where you would fall currently. And then it gets down, it gives them nice graphics, and it's just really nice. It's easy to follow. English, here's their composite score, here's their range of readiness, okay? So their range of readiness is right here on the chart here. This is the area where they need to score to meet that benchmark. Say, okay, I'm good to go there, all right? Or I'm soaring above it, or I'm below, and it says, okay, if I'm down here, I'm got to really get busy, or I'm close, I'm getting there. Here's your predicted ACT score. And then over here is the different sub-skill categories that can get more specific. And they have the range of readiness here, all right? And then it shows where they fall and the percentage of questions they got right. And then gives suggestions for the areas that they struggled in. And that's really a nice way for them to focus their attention. So it lays it out for all these different areas, all the different test categories. But then they have a supplemental scores, which is really nice because it gives them their percentile ranking. That's important to them as they're applying for colleges. But it gives an ELA score, which is really neat because it's following what we're doing with literacy across curriculum, an emphasis in claim evidence reasoning. All right, R1W1, that's English language arts. Progress with text complexity, it forces a discussion with kids. They say, no, I'm not ready, or yes, I am. You say, this is what we're doing when we're reading tough text, and we're helping you to chunk and gist and to be able to draw meaning from those texts. So you can see it's a big area in their ACT. Down here you have STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and it gives them a score and a range. And this really helps them to see all the careers that are out there that are in the technical field and where they fall. And if they focus on their math and science, they'll push that score up. And over here they have their progress towards career readiness, which is getting them thinking about that work keys that we've been talking about. So this is where this student is right now, silver, but they're heading towards gold, and that would be encouraging, and they can continue to work on those soft skills. So it gives great information. So we don't just want to give them this and send them on their merry way. We want them to actually dig in, pull out, look at their scores, and the best way to do that, we think, is for them to actually do something with it. And that's why we have the GDD. Okay? So this student here, I want to show you just real quick, give you a quick example of how they input it, and then what they do with it, and then we'll be done here. All right, so the student gets his ACT score sheet. He pulls up his GDD. He's looking at his 10th grade spring. He's an 11th grade student looking back. So he's first going to want to put in his composite score, which is right here, 429. Okay, so if I minimize this a little bit, I can kind of have both of them up for us here. All right, that there. All right, minimize this a little bit. Okay. So he's going to put in his composite score. Right here it says it's a 429. So he would put that here, 429. Okay. Now he's not going to have a goal here because if he took it, if he's looking back at his 9th grade spring, he would set a 10th grade goal, but he's an 11th grader. So he doesn't have a goal. But in the future, we would love for students to see that. And we would love for them to see, all right, did I grow? Did my composite grow? So it will compare in the future, which is great. And then he could check and see, all right, yes, I met my growth. Okay, I met my goal. But right now he's just putting his information in. Okay, so he puts in his range, ACT composite range. He's getting a 20 to 23 at this point. And that actually compares to right above in the red. All right. Let's scroll that over. All right, so that gives the overall information. Now he's going to go down. He's going to look at his sheet, okay, and he's going to see, all right, the first test that's on here is my English test. So he's going to go to his English section of his GDD, and he's going to put in his benchmark score, okay, which is right here, okay, 436. All right, so I'm going to type that in right here, 436, okay. Once again, you can see it will calculate from 9th grade spring to 10th grade spring to show growth, which is what we're looking at. It's that culture of growth. He's going to put in his English predicted ACT score, a 20 to a 25. And this, I like this area because then he will select, all right, am I meeting the ACT readiness benchmark? In this area, he's ready, so he will select ready. Then he gets a little bit more specific. He drops down here to the knowledge, his English skills. So knowledge of language, he can go over to his chart here. He can look, okay, how did I do there? Ooh, 100%. That's awesome. So he's obviously has a strength for him. Production of writing. Oh my, it's a 54% right here. All right, so you know what? Let me make this a little bit bigger. And I'm going back and forth. All right. So his production of writing is a 54%. And then his conventions of standard English is 77%. And then what I have them do, I have them look, say, all right, identify one of these areas that you need to improve on and color that box in. So he identifies production of writing. Now what's nice, he can think about, all right, what do I need to do? What does that mean? So if he looks at this, practice writing for a variety of purposes. Continue working on developing topics effectively. So his topic development, developing his claim, right? Things that he's talking in class, organizing my ideas, a writing process, okay? So expressing his ideas, stylistically consistent manner. So he's going to really want to think about, man, when I write, I mean, we're focusing on evidence-based writing, so he wants to claim evidence reasoning, counterclaims, all that kind of stuff is going to come into this production of writing, and it's going to drive his score up, which is very important. So you can see how it works together, which is really nice. All right, so that's one example that I won't go through all the other ones, but I just wanted to show you, you know, how you go from the specific test information to the or the specific ACT information down to the individual test, down to the subject skills, so they can see exactly what areas they can work on to improve. So we have that for every subject, and even if he jumps down over to the side, math, there's a lot of different areas there. And he would put it in, and he would identify where he's at, and then he'd be done for that session, and he would be able to now communicate his data, okay? So he would be able to look at this and see his composite, you know, growth, all that good stuff. Now, last thing I want to point out is when they come to see me and we go through ACT and they identify their areas, I give them a handout, which I want to make available to you, but it's just a quick summary here. I'll pull it up, of each of those subject skill areas. Okay, this is a really neat resource, and I kind of old-fashionedly cut it and taped it together. But it tells you, like for reading, what are the specific skills? And then those reading categories, key ideas and details. The questions and tasks in this skill category assess students' ability to read text closely, to determine central ideas and themes and summarize information ideas accurately, to understand sequential, comparative, and cause-effect relationships. But like I hone in on read text closely. So I mean, I point out to them, look, what we're doing in class is getting you specifically ready to do well on your ACT. If you just take advantage of the structures that the teachers are giving you and apply that to reading across the board, you're going to do well. Same thing for English. You look at the reporting categories, okay? I mean, it gets specifically into those areas that they can work on, so they can highlight their area here and then go into this doc here and see, all right, what do I need to work on? What am I going to be tested on? You know, science, what does it mean if I'm low interpretation of data? You know, graphs, tables, diagrams, all, you know, they could be thinking about what they can do. So it's a great resource for our students. All right, so that's all that I have for ACT. If you would like for me to come in and talk to your crew, that's great. I can do that. As they analyze their data, I've been focusing on getting them to the point where they can put it in. Some of them are done, some of them might still need to work on it. Um, but the main thing is, I'll leave you with this. We really want students to talk about their GDD at their student-led conference. We want them to pull it up. We want them to focus in. 10th grade, if you're a 10th grade crew teacher, they could briefly talk about their maps, baseline data, and where they are with their ACT. If you're an 11th grade crew teacher, please have them look at their ACT, identify where they are right now, and be thinking about they're actually taking the ACT in March. So please help them frame a 5-minute discussion about their data and make it part of their overall student-led conference. What that does, it helps them to see, to focus in on their plan for improvement and their plan for growth. So I thank you for your time. Let's rock it out and let's continue to give kids those opportunities to talk about their data. Thank you.